Yes, hello there. Thank you very much for attending our today's roundtable. We have a very interesting totally talked about, but the thing, because we want to inform you, we want to in a way tell you about other options to study in the United States. My name is Jorge Reyes. I am the Education USA advisor for Oaxaca, Guerrero, and Veracruz in Mexico. I am joined by my peers, Jenny Diaz, Education USA advisor in the Peninsula here in Mexico, and also with Annie del Arenal. She is in Pachuca. So we are three of many advisors here in Mexico. Just for your consideration, we have closed captionings for this session. So in case you don't want to hear and just want to read us, feel free to just log in. Put the little thing there to start reading the webinar. So maybe this is your first time in Education USA webinar. Maybe this is your second time, or maybe this is your third time. Also, I forgot to mention two important guests today. They will be talking about their own perspective within the topic that we are talking about today. But before we start with this webinar and with this session, remember that your camera and your microphone are mute and off. In case you want to ask something, the questions will be discussed at the end of the presentation, and this will be shared with our panelists. You can send them to Education USA Mexico or to me okay. So now, vocational studies in the US, that's what we are going to, what is it? Maybe this is your second time, or this is your 20th time, and you already know this speech. But anyways, I have to say it. Current information regarding studies in the States. And as I said, today, very interesting, maybe are considering another kind of option to study in the States. Okay, our target audience are students that would like to pursue higher education in the States. Also, we work with local stakeholders here in our case in Mexico, but our network is, for at least here in Mexico, we have a lot of centers, so we can share with you where is your closest advising center, and also not only for Mexico, but for our region, which is Canada, Mexico, Central America, and the Caribbean. And maybe you are joining from another part of the world, we can also share this. And as I said, this is part of the work we do. We offer this information through webinars, and through, now that we have more freedom to do in-person events, look for these events in your countries. And with this, I would like to introduce Diana Matier. Okay, Diana, thank you for being here. Diana was born in Bogota, Colombia, and moved to Mexico City when she was 6 years old. She moved to the US when she was 26. She holds a master's in public administrations in management information systems from the University of New Mexico. She started working at Central New Mexico Community Director from 2000. Connect provider services to remove barriers students may encounter in their educational path. She assisted with the development of CNM's Global Education Department and became a DSO in 2016. In September 2018, she was named the International Student and Scholar Officer, PDSO, and she's been married for 29 years and have 2 daughters. A fun fact that she's an animal lover and solving Sudoku. Thank you, Diana, for being here with us today. And also, we have Paul Hintz. Paul, excuse me for this. I have to figure out how Hintz better. because you are Mexican, right? Well, you can correct me later. Paul is an aviator pilot with 9,500 hours of flight time in his lifetime. He was born in Mexico City on August 23, 1988, and grew up most of his life in Pachuca, Hidalgo. At the age of 19, he began the process to obtain a student visa for a vocational career. Once he got it, he moved to San Antonio, Texas for a year and a half to study at school. He began his training as a professional pilot, passing through the licenses of private pilot, instrument pilot, and commercial pilot. Returning to Mexico, he converted his US commercial pilot license to a Mexican commercial license in order to apply to Mexican Airlines. His first job was with Interjet, where he was a co-pilot for 4.5 years. Then 6.5 years as captain of an Airbus 320. He's currently working for Volaris as captain of the same aircraft. Paul, thank you very much for being here with us today. And now with you, I will leave you with Annie and with Jenny. And I will stop the presentation.
Hello, can you hear me well? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and start having this conversation with our amazing speakers today. And so Diana and Paul, we had some technical issues there. So if you want to add something about your bios that you didn't hear, please feel free to do it too. And so we're going to start with the first question for you, Diana. And then my colleague Annie and I are going to be doing this interview. And then we'll also have a time for Paul to share his own experiences as well. So thank you both for being here. And Diana, first, before we start, we would like to know about what are today it's about technical and vocational programs, right? So first we would like to know what's the difference between these programs, the technical and vocational programs, and the undergraduate and graduate programs that are sometimes most familiar for our audience, right? And also in your own experience, what are the most popular of these programs, the technical and vocational that you see in your institution? And I know this is a long question, but also like if you could talk about the profile of students that look for these programs. And thank you for being here again.
Gracias, buenas tardes a todos, espero que todos estén bien. Mi primera pregunta va a ser para ti, Jenny. ¿Tengo que hablar en inglés o lo hablo en español o cómo quieres que haga yo esto?
Yeah, Diana, this event is live for students who are in the Caribbean, in North America, Central America. So we have some students who don't speak Spanish, unfortunately. So that's why we go in English.
Okay, perfect. I got it now. Okay, so welcome everybody. I'm so glad that you're here and listening to this talk about M1 visa. So the difference between M1 visa and F1 visa is that M is more like a vocational, it's like a shorter program. And the programs that we offer here by the way, I work for Central New Mexico Community College in the state of New Mexico in the United States, not in Mexico. It's mainly like a computer information systems type of program. And the main difference is that they're shorter programs. They're 10 to 12 weeks, and you get to learn everything right away. They're non-transferable to a university. That is also an important part, that those degrees are non-transferable. There are other things, but we'll talk a little bit more about that. So that was the first question, Jenny, of what is the difference between the M1 and the F1, and mainly that they're short programs and it cannot be transferable to a university. What is the second question?
What are the most popular technical and vocational programs that you see in your institution, for example?
In my institution, like I mentioned, there are computer information systems. They're like digital media, Java and Android, and full stack web development. And again, between 10 and 12 weeks is the length of the program. And the last question
and the last part of the question was like, what is the profile of students that look for these programs in your experience?
I think it's for people who really want to come, study, learn something, and go back right away to get a job in reality. It's something that is a little bit faster pace, because ours is in such a short term, they are unable to actually work. Normally with an M visa, you have to study for 4 months to be able to work 1 month. So because ours is only 3 months, there would be unable to work with our program.
Awesome, Diana. I think this gives us a great introduction to what we're going to be discussing about through the entire presentation. So thank you for being here and for sharing this part. It's so important to start the conversation. And then I'll let you all with my colleague, Anna.
Thank you, Jen. Hi, Paul. Okay, so I have a few questions for you. I'm going to start with the first one. Can you explain to our audience, how was the process you follow to become a pilot?
Hello. Thanks a lot for the invitation. So glad to be here with you guys. Yes, the process for me to become a pilot, first of all, I have to admit it was, well, to follow the dream. It was something that I always wanted all my life. It's like a real big dream to me. So to start, it's, well, to look for the school you want to study with, contact them, and after that, then you start the process.
So can you talk about the fly school? How did you I know there's plenty of fly schools in the US, but how did you find the one that you wanted to go to? And where was that school? Like which part of the US?
Okay, the school I went to, it was in San Antonio, Texas. The reason I went to this school, it was a recommendation. It was a cousin of mine, a little bit older than me. He went to this school, so he made a good and great recommendation of this school to me. That's the reason I went.
Nice. And how did you apply? What were the requirements? Some of the requirements that you can remember.
Actually, like apply, it was just contact them. It was contact the school, and after that, well, they make you some questions. Actually, what you really, what I can remember, you need to have a passport. I don't remember if I need to have like a tourist visa also after that. And actually, that was it.
And we would like to know, are there any scholarships for this type of programs?
I'm not very familiar with that, Rosie. I have to tell and admit also that it's not very common in aviation to have scholarships. Actually, what is sometimes what it happens, some airlines that are in the need for pilots, they need pilots in their company. They look for people who wants to be become a pilot. So sometimes they pay for all this training, and after that you have a contract with them.
It's like, I'll pay for your school, but you have to come back and work for me.
Yeah, that's how it happens. They pay for you for your scholarship. Then you have like a contract with them. Maybe you're gonna be a little bit reduced about the payment salary, maybe, but well, it's not that bad because you're gonna have a job. That means you're gonna have a job for some time.
For sure. Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jen.
You're welcome.
So maybe you already noticed, but what we're trying to do here tonight is to have a perspective of the institution. That is why is Diana with us as an institution with these kind of programs. And then we have Paul, who was a student in one of the institutions that offer those programs, right? So seeing the experience of someone who works for an institution like this and someone who had the experience of studying and doing a vocational program is what we wanted to bring to you all tonight. So following what we were talking about, Diana, do you know what kind of studies experience do candidates need to apply to these programs? Do they need any kind of experience before applying?
No, normally when it's a vocational M1 visa, they don't need any kind of experience at all. They just need to go through the process. Normally vocational schools or vocational programs are done by community colleges or private institutions like the one that potentially Paul may have been admitted. But four-year universities generally do not have a vocational program. And the community college, we are way more relaxed in the admissions process. I doubted that it was the same for Paul because that flight is a little bit tougher, I would think. I think the main requirement is that you speak English, that you have the knowledge to be able to understand the classes. So definitely the English language, I think, would be the main reason here at CNM. The only requirement that we need from you is, yes, that you speak English, you understand it. We have a TOEFL of 61 or a Duolingo of 90. High school diploma as a minimum, and that you have the money to attend the United States. That's mainly the thing. And yes, we do not have scholarships.
Yeah, that's pretty important to mention. And I think my follow-up question was going to be that, right? How competitive is the admission process in your experience?
Yeah, it is, I would think, sorry, my phone is ringing and I don't want it to disturb. It is not competitive at all. I think as long as you have the minimum requires that is the high school, the money, and then obviously like with the any other visa, you're going to need to go to the US Embassy to do the interview. And that could take anywhere from 90 seconds to 5 minutes. It is really fast. And don't worry about being nervous because everybody who goes there, they're nervous, but just be truthful because they know what's going on. They see things that we don't know they see. So just be truthful. And I normally try with my students, I try to do like an interview. I ask them certain questions and I help them, I guide them in answering the correct thing. Because sometimes even though you know the answer, you might be like, I had somebody who they asked her, why did you want it to come to CNM? And she's like, well, I found it on the website. When in reality, she had a sponsor who lived here in the United States. So that is mainly the requirement. I'm going into tangent, but yeah, mainly be honest. And there's not that many competitive on the M1 visa.
No, and I think it's great that you're mentioning that, Diana, that they have the support of you all going through this process, right? Like making sure that they talk to you before going to the interview, and so you can advise them and make sure that they get the visa they need to go to study to your institution. Yeah. So thank you. And we can go back with you, Anna.
Thank you. Okay, Paul. So we want to know, once you were accepted in flight school, what was the length of the program? Was it like 4 years, like a bachelor's degree, or was it a short program?
No, for me, it was about 1 year and a couple of months. It was something like that. In aviation, it's a little bit different from like any regular school, like college or something like that. Because in aviation, it depends too much in you, how much time do you have to study, how much time do you have to fly. Also, economical, sometimes it's important, right? If you have the money to pay all your flight time, but fortunately for me, it was like 1 year and 2 months to get my commercial pilot license.
And that was my following question. We want to know about the cost of this type of program, because I've heard it's a bit expensive.
Yes, well, it is a little bit expensive. I mean, what makes it expensive is the cost of the fuel. You know, it gets a little bit harder as the time goes by. When I did this study, this flight time, it was in 2008, and right now I think it's the double from what was that time. I can say around something like that. It was like 1 million pesos, Mexican pesos.
Well, I bet now it's very expensive because fuel, diesel, I don't know what planes use, but it's very expensive, right? So can you describe us like a regular day while you were studying? What was like a normal day for you?
Okay, like a normal day would be, you get to schedule your flight time with your instructor. You are assigned to an instructor, so he has also a schedule with other students. So you have whatever the time he gives you, you get you need to prepare your flight. You need to check some meteorological conditions. Also check what maneuvers are you going to do during your flight time, or if you're going to do maybe like a cross country, plan all your trip to this place, what airports you're going to be landing in, all that stuff. Then you get to reunite with your instructor. He's going to make some questions. He's going to check also your flight plan. And after this, if everything's good, then you're going to go to your flight time.
Nice. But I also want to know, did you had any like theoretical classes?
Yes. Yes, I did. I got 3 licenses. Well, it was 3 licenses. And for this, you need to make some theory classes also. And you're going to have like an exam. You're going to have some exams via the school. And whenever they tell you you are ready to do, if you get, I don't know, if you get good grades on these exams, then they're going to send you with a check writer. And this check writer is the one of the FAA, or well, the regulation in the United States for the flight, for everything in the aviation. And he's going to be the one who tells if you are good, and he's going to give the license to you.
Okay, cool. That was very interesting, Paul. Thank you so much. Jenny?
Yeah, and while we're listening, that we all continue talking about the M visas, right? Like Paul had a visa, Annie was talking about it, and then Diana, we would like to hear a little bit more about this visa with your experience. Could you tell us about the M visa and what are some of the requirements to obtain it?
Yeah, like I did mention that before. So for the M1, I'm going to talk a little bit about the process, the full process. So you just go and apply to the college that you're interested. Let's say you're interested in coming to CNM. You will have to submit an application as an international new student. You will need to upload your high school diploma, your English proficiency, could be TOEFL, IELTS, Duolingo. I encourage you to do Duolingo because it's cheaper, faster to get the test and faster to get the results. But before you do Duolingo, just make sure that if you're applying to several places, that they do take the Duolingo. That's one recommendation I do for M or F1 visa. And then once with us, there's a $50 payment for the application. Once you complete that, you will be accepted within 24 hours. Then I will send you an email asking you for a copy of your passport, valid at least 6 months from the first day of class, that I normally recommend more. And then some forms that I'll send you, health insurance. And the most important part is that you or somebody in your family have an average of $21,000 in the bank. And it actually can be a little bit less because it's vocational, but you would need to pay for a hotel for 3 weeks. So on longer programs, it might cost you less, but because you can do like a rent 6-month lease. But when it's with us, such a shorter program, it has to be like in a hotel type of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. And would you say that's only for your institution or any institution that they want to go to study this kind of program?
Everybody's going to have money to be able, because and I actually stopped myself when in reality, then let me continue. Once we give you the I-20, and somebody just asked me that, once we give you the document, the I-20, you're going to have a number there. And with that number, then you have to pay $500 to the U.S. Embassy for the interview and the visa that you have to pay, even though unfortunately you don't get it. But then you go to the U.S. Embassy, and the embassy is the one who's going to either approve or deny your visa. Once that is approved, then you will have to go ahead and make the payment for the classes and come, and that's it.
Awesome, Diana. Let me highlight that you need to be accepted by the institution before going for the visa. So you cannot go to the consulate and ask for an M visa. they won't give it to you. You need to have an approval from the university.
They won't even
Or
give you an
community college.
interview. Yeah, they won't even give you an interview because to pay for the interview, you have to have that number that I give you on the I-20. So yeah, you have to be accepted by the college and for them to provide that I-20. And right now, after COVID, some things got better with the government. And one of them is that we actually can email you the document, and then you don't have to pay for the shipping of the I-20 to your home country. They're accepting the email copy. So that's one of the benefits now.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Diana.
Of course.
Thank you very much. So Paul, Diana already gave us like general idea of the M-Visa and the requirements. But in your case, how was your experience obtaining the M-Visa? How long did it take also?
It was really fast. Like Diana said, it was really fast at that time. Well, I got the shipment of this I-20. I made the application, the school approved, then I get the I-20. I think it took about, I don't know, maybe 1 week at that time to get my appointment in the US Embassy. And they gave me the visa and it took like, I don't know, maybe 3 days. It was really, really fast.
Oh, that's wonderful. I was going to ask you if you had any challenges obtaining the visa, but apparently you did not.
No, I did not. No, I did not. Like Diana said, actually, it was not so hard. What I really, what the consul asked for was like an account balance that could pay for all of the money that in the I-20 form the school sent it. That maybe it was gonna cost all of the training.
Yes. Okay. Nice. Thank you so much, Paul. And also, we want to know. So, from the time you got the visa, like in how many weeks or months did you go actually to San Antonio to start your program?
I got the visa and it took 1 week just to get ready, get all my stuff and everything I needed for United States, and that's it.
That was really fast. Thank you so much. Jenny?
Yeah. So
Okay, I need to interact here.
Yeah.
Paul, you're so lucky. You were so lucky. I just want to say that and reiterate that because Mexico is actually a place where you can get your visa really fast, the appointment really, really fast. But unfortunately, that doesn't work for every country. Every country is different. For example, I have several students right now from the continent of Africa that they're in Nigeria or Ghana, that they gave their appointments. They're supposed to start this spring in January. They got their appointments for July of 2024. That's when they got their appointments. So just understand that every country is different on giving the appointments, and just make sure that you plan that before you apply, because for example, my application for the spring closed June 1st. So it really, it's been closed. So actually it was November. Right now it's open for the fall and it will close that June 1st. So just plan ahead of time. Please, if you learn something from this webinar, is that you need to plan. The earlier you can get everything done, the better, and you're better ready and prepared to come to the United States. Sorry.
No, Diana, that's awesome, because actually we have students from other countries here in this session, right? So Paul's experience was in Mexico, and then we have students from other countries too. So we are very thankful that Paul is being able to be here and share his own experience, but of course the experience will be different for every student, for every program, for every institution. So just I would suggest the same, make everything with a lot of time before to prepare. So Diana, let's suppose that everything worked out. They got their visa, they went to the US, they did their vocational or technical program, and now they are ready to work. What kind of jobs are available for students who complete these programs in the US or anywhere in your experience?
So that's another process. We love processes here. So before you graduate, you need to apply. Normally for programs, F1 visa, there's something called OPT, but that is not allowed for M programs. They have to do CPT, but it's the same application in a sense. For every 4 months that you study in the United States or your program, you get 1 month of employment in MY1. So that's a little bit of a difference also between other visas, is for every 4 months, you only get 1. And you have to work on the field that you graduated on. And you will need to justify that to the USCIS and stuff like that. So, and the cost to apply is $410. So, yeah, so the need to apply, it can get anywhere from, it can take anywhere from 90 days. Also, yes, so that's about it. They have to work in the, and you know, for shorter programs like us, that it's only 12 weeks, they cannot work. So also, if you, let's say your program is for 4 months and you want to work 1 month, nobody's going to hire you for 1 month. Go through the whole process. So I like to always be realistic and tell you the truth. So that's something that you want to look at, that if you're hoping to work in the United States, but you're coming to a shorter program, expect that the moment that you finish, you have 30 days to leave the country and go back home and start work over there.
Awesome. And then if they don't want to work and they want to continue their studies, is that possible to get an associate, bachelor's or master's degree after their vocational program?
Unfortunately, that's one of the limitations of the M1 visa, that you cannot do something that is called change of status. Everybody else can do it, but unfortunately the vocational M1 visa, no. So what you would need to do, if you're happy, you want to continue your studies, what you're going to have to do is apply. Let's say you are in my college and you're taking one of those, we can go through the process of accepting you for the following term, but you will have to go back home and do the interview, pay the service fee, the $500 for the interview and the visa, and go through the same process. And then if you get the F1 visa, you can continue from the associates to bachelor's to master to, you know, as long as you have the money and you can provide that information, you can continue in the United States, studying in the United States, and employment too. Every time you graduate from a degree, you are able to work for 1 year.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, thank you for clarifying that, Diana.
Of course.
Thank you. So Paul, we are almost finishing this event, but we want to know if this program that you study met your expectations. What
Yes.
did you do? But we also want to know, sorry, what did you do after completing your program?
After completing my training, I came back to Mexico because this United States has a different regulation for aviation than Mexico. I need to convert my license, my commercial license, to a Mexican commercial license. Because if I'm gonna fly for a Mexican airline, I have to have a Mexican commercial license. So it took a little bit of process, some flight time, and also some training theory, some training theory courses here in Mexico. And after that, I was ready so I could apply for airlines. Okay,
but also we want to know, like, did you continue studying or training? Like, because I understand that you don't become a captain immediately. Like, you have, what are the requirements to become a captain?
My first job was in Interjet. And Interjet, it may vary from airline to airline. In Interjet, what they asked for, it was 4,000 hours flight time in the company. And after that, in 3 years seniority in the airline. And after this, I could apply for a captain. When I got those, then I became a captain.
Nice, very nice. And finally, the last question for both of you, I'm going to start with Diana. If you have any recommendations for potential students interested on a technical or vocational program.
Mainly do the research. go to the, first of all, Education USA can help you so much. So please go to their centers, contact them, because they can help you not only finding schools, they have so many other workshops and other information that they can really help you, and they can guide you. They know a lot of us. We were just with some of them at a Costa Rica event not too long ago, and they get to know us, they get to know what degrees we have. So Education USA should be your first stop to help you out with what schools. But if you know already what school, go to that school, find out what degrees they have, which ones are F1, which ones are M1. Might be that, you know, it just depends. It could be that it's better for you to do an F1 than an M1. So it's really up to whatever you need. If you need something fast that you want to learn right away and get back to your home country and study, because remember, either M or F, the goal is for you to come to study and go back to your home country to put into place what you learned. That is the goal of the study F or M visa. So my advice definitely for you would be do the research, see what schools are benefit, cost of living for every state, because here in New Mexico, we're more affordable than New York. I know, you know, New York might be more lively, whatever, but if you want to save money, so that's the advice I would give to everybody is do the research and talk to Education USA people who can help you.
Thanks a lot, Diana. And Paul, do you have any recommendations for people that want to become or that want to be a pilot specifically?
I have to say maybe the same that Diana said right now. Do the research. It's amazing. It's a great experience to do your flight time in United States. And also for me, and that's like a recommendation as a pilot, the aviation language worldwide is English. So it was an amazing backup for me. So having your flight time in United States in the airline is so good to have your that aviation English.
Great. Thank you so much. Jenny?
Yeah, and Diana, since we have you here, if you don't mind sharing your contact information or website of your community college on the chat, feel free to do it so our audience can see where they can find more information about these programs. And so I think, Anna, we can continue with questions from the audience.
Yes. So the audience actually has a question that if there's like a website where they can look for programs with the M-Visa or these technical programs that you would recommend, Diana?
No, there's not a specific website. And this is something through I just put my WhatsApp and my email address.
Thank you.
And I'll put my also website, but I would always say follow your dreams, because I get a lot of people who try to do engineering or computer science because that's the one that pays the most and blah blah blah. Don't do that, because then you will not enjoy your education path and you will not be successful. So find what you love, what you really want to do in life, and then let's go from there. Let's find the colleges or the states that might have that program that might interest you. It is hard for me to tell you which ones. For example, I would have thought that, for example, here at CNM, we do have plumbing, welding, electrical trades, and I would have thought those were going to be M1 programs, but they actually gave us the F, and it's because they're 2-year programs. So my advice to you is find what you love, and then let's follow that path.
Okay, great. Paul, somebody from the audience is asking if you can share the name of the school in San Antonio, because he wants to go through that path to become a pilot, and he would like to do some research specifically in that school. If you want to type it on the chat.
Yes, but well, I would love to do that, but I'm so sorry, but the school is not working anymore.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's closed.
Yeah,
But
it's
if you
close
don't
now.
want to be a pilot and you want to be a mechanic in airplanes, I have that program. It's a 2.5-year program, and you will be certified by FAA once you can take the test of it, and you can work around the world with that certificate with that degree. So if you're interested in being a mechanic for airplanes, you can work commercial, you can work private, you can work with a lot. Sorry. Yeah.
And you already have Diana's information on the chat, so go ahead
Yes.
and check it out.
Exactly.
I have one more question. Annie, are you okay with me bringing it up on the chat? Someone was asking if there is a pathway, because there is a pathway with English for undergraduate and graduate programs that I want to study. If there are a pathway regarding English or courses in English that I can take before joining vocational programs to make sure they get the TOEFL or any test that they need to get before getting admitted.
So we do have an ESL program, but because we made some changes to it, I'm waiting for the government to approve it, but it could take 12 months. If you're interested in learning English, we also have a university here in New Mexico. And I'm putting the link. It's a CELAC program where it's an intensive English. If you want to do it this fall, spring, forget about it. For spring, there's no reason right now that you can get into any college. But if you want to do it the fall, you can check CELAC, or you can send me an email around March. Maybe I'll have heard something. If not, I will hopefully have it by the spring term, the English intensive program.
Great. And Diana, they are also asking if somebody finishes a program with an M visa and they want to continue studying, but maybe they need to get an F visa, can they just change the visa? Should they come back to Mexico or to their home country, or what's the process? Correct.
That's one of the limitations of the M1 visa. You cannot continue your studies. You cannot continue your studies. That's a limitation. You have to go back. You can apply in the meantime or later on, but you would have to start the whole process all over again for the F1 visa and go back to your home country, go through the embassy interview, and then get accepted. You will need a new I-20 for that new program. Even though it's in the same college, you will need a new I-20.
Great. And finally, Paul, they're asking if after completing the pilot program, is there a chance that maybe people can stay in the US and get hired? They should apply? Or have you heard of maybe some companies going to schools and seeing if maybe they want to hire somebody from that school?
Are we talking about foreign people, not American people?
Yes, foreign, like Mexicans or from other countries.
Okay, no, it's not that easy to have a job in United States as an airline, because one of the requirements to be a pilot of maybe I don't know if these airlines is to be an American citizen. So it's not so easy, but I know many people that get their instructor's license, and they can, after that, apply to a school, and the school can give them a work visa. That's what sometimes foreign people do, but airlines is not so easy.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. I think that those are all of my questions. I don't know if Jenny has anything else.
No, Anna, I think Jorge was sharing the ones that he has with you too. So we're good.
There's somebody, Nishwan Price, that raised his hand. I don't know if they need to type the question in the chat box.
Yes, if you can put it in the chat, please, and we can read your question.
So while he is doing that, we can take advantage of the time, and thank you so much, Diana and Paul, for being here. I'm learning a lot with this session, and I'm sure many of my colleagues are, and also our audience definitely is learning with all the insights that you bring, Diana, with your experience, Paul. So thank you, and I'm sure Annie joins me on this.
Thank you so much. And Jorge, can you please share the presentation again, because we have one final slide with our next events that we want to invite all of you. I don't know. We are nowhere. Yes, those. Okay, thank you so much. So we're gonna have some events coming up. We have a for graduate degrees, we have study a US graduate degree and how to select your program. This is part of our monthly sessions that we offer. And if you are interested in studying a graduate degree, please join us in that specific event. For December, we are gonna launch the podcast from Education USA. And also we're gonna have an event about the SUSI scholarship from the embassy. So if you're interested, please contact us, contact your nearest advisor, and we can give you more information. Thank you very much to all of you. It was a pleasure. Gracias, Paul. Gracias, Diana.
De nada, con mucho gusto. Gusto saludar.